way up? Or?
Of course.
What'd you take from him?
He was my era. You know, the whole hit, not get hit, and to make the adjustments that he's made to certain fighters. You know, he's the.
After Mayweather surprised Terence Crawford during training camp, he received the much-needed visit in the lead-up to the September mega fight. It's a wonderful gesture for Floyd Mayweather to support a fighter who has the potential to reach his 50-0 undefeated boxing record. And Terence Crawford can be confident of defeating Canelo in September thanks to the undefeated boxing legend's visit to Crawford's training camp. One of just two fighters to defeat Canelo Alvarez. The first person to do so was Floyd Mayweather, who was in Crawford's gym to give him the strategies and advice he needed to win on fight night. Crawford is skilled enough to face Alvarez, but with more guidance, his chances of winning rise. Mayweather focused mostly on improving his footwork because he wanted Crawford to be more agile.
The king.
So, you think you guys got a lot in common?
In some aspects, yeah, we do.
How are you guys different?
We both box. I think, you know, I take more chances.
If I take Floyd Mayweather in his absolute prime, and I take Manny Pacquiao in his absolute prime,
Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd still beats him.
Floyd beat everybody.
You don't believe there's a guy at 140, 147 in the history of boxing that could have beat Floyd in his prime?
It'd be tough. Floyd, man, that boy, man, that's the GOAT, man. That boy bad.
What makes it, I mean, what, because, and I told people this, I said, look at Floyd. I said, Floyd, it's not that he trains, I mean, it's his life. And from the very beginning, he said, I want to be the best.
Mobility is a trait that Mayweather and Val have in common. In order to beat Canelo and win, Crawford must also become extremely mobile and use his footwork to hit without getting hit. If he does this, Canelo will only become irate and frustrated. When Mayweather was to predict the fight after training, he was certain that Terence Crawford would prevail. During a recent interview, Floyd Mayweather recalled his historic bout against Canelo Alvarez in the weight class, and he said, "I bet on Bivol against him, and I'm doing that on Crawford too." Crawford has everything it needs to defeat Canelo, and he will remember that.
That's gave the sport of boxing their whole life and sacrificed a lot inside that square circle. They should feel that way. So if he feel that way, you know, more power to him. I had one fight, and the fight wasn't actually at it.
I believe Canelo once thought that I was afraid of him. So he said, Floyd doesn't want to fight me, so I'm willing to meet him at 152 or 152 pounds. I called his bluff and said, if you want to do it, let's do it at 152 or 152 and 1/2. However, after Canelo made the weight, it wasn't like there was a clause where he couldn't gain weight. He weighed 152 or 152 and a half. I believe he arrived at 168 or nearly 170, while I arrived at 151 or 152.
Catch weight. It was at a catch weight, but it wasn't my idea. So at one particular time, you guys can, anybody, you can go online and pull this up. It was an article. So with Canelo said, I believe Canelo at one particular time thought I was scared of him, you know.
Even though boxing fans have frequently compared Terence Crawford to Floyd Mayweather Jr., it's possible that Crawford believed this was sufficient for him as well, because he still had a lot to learn about the new weight class he would be switching to in less than a month. Bud refused to deny the 50-0 boxing champion the recognition he deserved. When asked about the similarities between Floyd Mayweather and himself, Terence Crawford had a few more things to say. He is the king who applauded and accepted Floyd's excellence. He went on to say, "We have quite a lot in common in some aspects, but we're a little different because I take more chances." Earlier in his career, he was also taking a lot of chances. It just depends on which Floyd Mayweather you're referring to, i.e., Money or Pretty Boy, as Pretty Boy was the seeking destroyer before he began suffering hand injuries that prevented him from maintaining the same level of power, and he was rising and facing more formidable opponents.
Chances,
Excuse me, Crawford.
right now, but earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances as well. So, it just depends on which Floyd Mayweather you talk about. If you talk about Money or do you talk about Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy was the seek and destroy fighter.